Alright, today I'm going to show you how to replace just the glass on your Samsung Galaxy Note 3 and your Samsung Galaxy Note 2. I'm going to try it actually with a piece of string. It ended up not working out too well. You can do it without taking apart the phone. I ended up taking mine apart just because it is a little bit easier to get the glass away from the LCD itself. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take my heat gun and just gently heat up my phone for about 2 to 4 minutes. Some people say that you can do this with the blow dryer, just like your regular hair dryer. I've found that the hair dryer doesn't heat up enough to melt the glue between the glass layer and the digitizer layer. So I have the heat gun. They're pretty cheap. I'll put a link in the video description below if you need to buy one. You want to get the screen too hot to touch. That way you know that the glue is liquid between the two layers. I'm just going to take my razor and kind of slide it in between the glass layer and the digitizer. It's right below the colored part of the lens. And this is where I tried to take a string and kind of slide it in and just pull it through to kind of separate the glass. It was good in theory. The string ended up melting. So I guess if you can find a string or a super thin wire, you might be able to put it in between and just pull it down and separate the layers. But in my opinion, the prying it up with razor blades works out a little bit better. So as you can see, I've taken 2 razor blades and kind of dug at the corners a little bit to get it started. And I'm lifting up very, very gently along the edges, super slow. And then I'm going to heat it up a little bit, move it another couple centimeters, heat it up some more, move it another couple centimeters, just little bit by little bit, and you can see the glue just kind of melting away on the inside. I'm going to put a link right here for another video I made for 3 common mistakes that people make when trying to separate the glass from their phones. And it'll talk about not heating the glass up too much because you can burn the LCD underneath. So you just want to put it on for 30 seconds, warm it up till it's too hot to touch anymore, slide your razor blades or your pry tools down a little bit, and just kind of continue that same process. I normally don't recommend that people try to separate the glass from their phone just because the success rate is so low, but it definitely is still possible as long as you go super slow and don't put any pressure on the digitizer underneath. The whole process took me about 45 minutes from start to end. So I would set aside, a good 45 minutes to an hour and make sure not to rush anything. You always want to start at the top of the screen as well, just because there's the buttons down at the bottom of the screen that will rip if you start prying down there. So make sure you start up by the earpiece. You can see that I've lifted it up and away, and now you can see that the buttons are down there at the bottom. I'm taking care not to lift it too far away from the phone so I don't rip any of the cables down there. If you do rip a cable, just send me a message and I can see if I can find a replacement part for you. You can contact me on Facebook or just leave a comment down in the bottom. And now I'm just prying the buttons away from the screen themselves. And now I'm just going to clean up a little bit. You can leave the home button off for now, just make sure you reapply it before you put the top screen back on. So I need to get rid of all of the rest of the glue from the phone, as well as pull off the earpiece from the old screen and the home button bracket from the old screen as well. So just kind of pull that out and away. And now I'm going to finish cleaning up the glue from the phone. It's actually a pretty big pain. The glass digitizer, which is what is right above the LCD right now, is super fragile. It's about the same thickness and fragility as an egg. So when brushing at it, remember that any force that would break an egg is the same amount of force that would break this digitizer. It's super fragile. So I tried heating it up a little bit to melt the remaining glue to see if I could pull it away that way. It ended up not working out too well. The best method that I've found is just getting a little bit of Windex on a white lint-free cloth and just rubbing very gently at the glue, and it'll eventually just rub away. Now, if anybody else has any better ways of getting rid of the glue on the phone, please message me or leave a comment below so we can share it with the rest of the world. Cleaning off the glue took about just as much time as separating the glass from the digitizer. Now, if you've gotten this far, it's pretty impressive. The hardest part is over. So there's 3 layers to the screen. You have the outer layer, which is the hard glass, which protects the phone. The layer right below it, which is the digitizer, and this is what senses your fingers going on the screen. And then the lower layer right below the digitizer is the LCD, which is what you see on the screen. If your phone does not work, if the touch part of your phone does not work, or if you cannot see anything on the phone because the LCD is broken, then replacing just the glass will not work. In order to replace just the glass and be successful, your phone has to be visible and recognize your touches. That's when you can replace just the glass. Now I'm taking my double-sided sticky tape. I'll put a link in the video description below to where you can buy this. It's pretty cheap, just a couple bucks. And I'm basically going to make a sticky frame around the edge of the phone, as well as around the LCD itself. That way no dust can get inside between the glass and the digitizer. So make sure that when you put the sticky tape in a square around the LCD itself, that there's no way that dust can slip inside. So make sure it's completely sealed off. Also make sure not to cover up any of the light sensors, the proximity sensors, or the camera up at the top of the phone. Taking the double-sided tape and just making my little fortress around the edges here. If you have any problems, you can always message me for help. You can find me on Facebook or on Twitter at Zach's Jerry Rig, Google Plus as well as Facebook. I'll put links at the end of the videos for all of that stuff. You can click in the bottom left corner to head to my website. Alright, so right here you can see that the earpiece is already in place, and I pulled off the bottom protective layer on the glass, and I'm just lining it up along the edge of the phone, and I'm leaving the bottom up just a little bit so I can align that home button. Now you can see that I've messed up a little bit here. I forgot to put in the metal bracket for the home button that we took off of the old screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pry up the screen a little bit again, slide that bracket in, and then put it back down again. So save yourself a step and remember to put that bracket in beforehand. And you can see that everything's good. If you need a link to see how to put your phone back together again, go ahead and click that. If you decided not to take your phone apart, you'll find you should be good to go. Now make sure to get a case on this thing. Try not to drop it. And you can see that everything works out great. If you have any questions, make sure to leave in the comments below. Don't forget to like if this video helped you. And the best thing that you can do for me is to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And don't forget about Facebook, Google Plus, or Twitter. I hope to see you around. Thanks for watching.